What's up guys, Asian here again with another PTS video, and today we're going to be answering the question, are stamsorcs going to be using pets in Dragonhold? This is actually a fairly controversial and hot topic on Reddit, on the forums, on a couple of discords, whether or not stamsorcs are actually going to use the new and improved Unstable Clannfear as a pet, compared to, as they traditionally have done, not running any pets at all. So why are we taking a look at this now? What changed with the Clannfear? Well, in Dragonhold, in order to give stamsorcs a little bit of a class identity, you decided to make the Clannfear essentially the Stamina Sorc pet. So right now on live, the Unstable Clannfear does, I believe it does just straight magic damage, and it scales off of your Max Magicka. On Dragonhold, they change it to deal physical damage instead, and it scales off your max stamina. It will still not scale off of weapon damage, so much like the Volatile Familiar, it will not scale off of, which won't scale off of spell damage. Your weapon damage won't affect the tooltip for your Unstable Clannfear at all. This does cost Magicka to use, and you can still activate the ability to heal yourself in the Clannfear by using Magicka, so it is pretty good for a self-heal. Not very strong. You can see here 34-14. It should heal you for about 30 to 33% of your max health here. So I'm at about 10k max health, so this is around 33% of my max health right now. So pretty decent self-heal. If you imagine that you have maybe like 18k max health, it'll heal for about a 6k chunk. Very good burst heal, but generally speaking, Vigor is going to heal you for a little bit more, and if you really need it self-heal, Surge is actually going to be better overall for just in terms of raw healing as well as burst heal done. So I wouldn't really use Clannfear for the burst heal that you get out of it. Mainly the idea behind running the Clannfear is kind of twofold. One is to help out sustain, for those of you guys who have trouble sustaining on a stamsorc, because the Clannfear is essentially just a dot that doesn't take up any resources outside of summoning it the first time. You can pretty much treat it as just, a way to sustain yourself. And the second is, like I mentioned earlier, it's just a continuous dot. You don't have to use any resources for it. So in that instance, it should act pretty decently in terms of just a free source of DBS. For those of you guys who play more solo content, the Clannfear would act basically more or less as an extra friend for you to deal more damage, as well as potentially take some heat off of you. But we're not really taking a look at this from a solo standpoint, we're obviously taking a look at this from a group standpoint. How much DPS does the Unstable Clannfear provide? Is it worth running this? Because remember, it is a pet, which means you will have to run it on both bars, which means you'll be eating up 2 bar slots for basically 1 dot. It's not a very good trade-off just on paper. It basically reduces you down to only 4 ability slots on each bar for a total of 8 ability slots. While it is possible to make a build that will make the most use out of all 8 ability slots, it's going to be a little bit tricky. So what I basically did was I did 2 different parses. So the first parse you can see here is the one without the Clannfear. So this is what I anticipate will be probably what's going to be on my stamsorc build. So Rending Slashes, Rapid Strikes, Hurricane, Barbed Trap, Bound Armaments, and Flawless Dawnbreaker. And on the back bar we have Soul Trap, Poison Injection, Arrow Barrage, Barbed Trap again, Bound Armaments again, and Greater Storm Atronach here. And then we basically just substituted out a couple of abilities here for the Unstable Clannfear. So here basically what I did was I more or less took out Soul Trap here, and I basically moved Trap to the front bar and I moved Hurricane to the back bar. So this was the setup that I had running the Clannfear instead. Now, in terms of stamsorcs, your sustain is actually pretty decent. You shouldn't really need to use Dark Deal. If you need to use Dark Deal at all, feel free to put that in anywhere. If I were to run it on the Clannfear side of things, I'd probably replace Bound Armaments with Dark Deal. If I was running a non-stamsorc, then I'd probably replace Soul Trap with Dark Deal instead. So remember, I had Soul Trap and Barbed Trap here. So I would probably end up replacing Soul Trap for Dark Deal if you need the extra sustain there. In terms of gear, pretty much kept it consistent across the board here. So I used 2-piece Veldrith, didn't want to mess around with Marsalok because that kind of depended on my own ability to bash weave. So we kept with Veldrith just to keep the consistent DPS going. We used Reliquin and Lachesis on the front bar. I forgot to use Alchemical Poisons on the Clannfear parse, so I just kept the Absorb Stamina enchants here for the non-Clannfear parse just to keep things consistent. Charmin on the offhand, Nornhorn on the main hand. Master's Bow, infused weapon damage, enchant, all 3 Bloodthirsty, all 3 weapon damage, all divines, running the Shadow Mundus, 1 point in the stamina, Dark Elf, Lavafoot, your typical parse food. CPs were kept exactly the same. There was really no changes needed to be made. So 49 Mighty, 60 Piercing, 61 Precise Strikes, 48 Thaumaturge, 52 Mastered Arms. Just very quick, breezing through the build that I use for both both tests here. And now what you guys are really interested in, obviously, the DBS tests. This is obviously not going to be the DBS ceiling because I forgot to put down the chemical poisons. So with chemical poisons, we should be seeing probably another 2-3k out of this parse here. But you can see here that we pulled 80.4k with sort of a sub-optimized build here. I didn't run a chemical poisons here. And then if we take a look at the Clannfear parse here, which I did yesterday actually, we pulled 78.9k, so about a 1k difference. So on a trial dummy, it's about a 1k difference, but in an actual raid, just because trial dummies does inflate your parse a little bit because of the major force uptime, it'll probably a little bit lower than that. So if you're just looking to output the raw amount of DPS, then the Clannfear is actually not going to output the highest amount of DPS. That being said, it is not a terrible ability to slot here. You can see that the Unstable Clannfear did about 2k DPS here. The actual damage that it did is pretty abysmal compared to some other abilities. So if you take a look at the max, it's 6k for our max. The only thing that hit lower would be our status effects, so concussed, poison, diseased, and absorbed stamina. Everything else pretty much always hit higher than the Unstable Clannfear did. So if you're just looking for just like a raw, powerful single hit move, Clannfear doesn't provide it. It's just very consistent small ticks here and there. It does have a tail sweep, so it does have a little bit of an AoE potential here. But again, if you are going to be running Clannfear, the idea behind it is to either simplify your rotation, get basically better sustain. Stamsorcs, you shouldn't really be needing that sustain at all. So if you go ahead and take a look at our stamina percentage, oh, that's right, this is an old parse, so you can't actually see that here. But if you go ahead and take a look at this parse here, in terms of stamina percentage, you can see that we dropped below 75 a few times, but didn't really have any issues at all sustaining here. This is without Dark Deal, this is only running Lavafoot, so if you're running something like RTM Takeaway Broth, or even just blue food, you should be able to sustain this rotation fairly easily. This is a long-ish parse here, so 4:25, you can see here, about 4.5 minutes. So I probably would say don't bother with the Clannfear. The rotation is still simple enough without the Clannfear. There's really no need to run the Clannfear at all, and your DPS ceiling will be higher if you're not running the Clannfear here. So while it is great for people who are just starting to get into stamsorcs to kind of simplify your rotation a little bit, to push the most amount of DPS, I would probably say just don't even bother running the Clannfear. Just run what you would normally run on a stamsorc on live right now, keeping in mind that Bound Armaments has changed. But that concludes this video. Hopefully you guys found this informative, and I will see you guys in the next dungeon.